This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
I'm Ryan Flickner with Kansas Farm Bureau. Work on the lobby team for Kansas Farm Bureau, and we're just wrapping up our 2016 annual meeting. It's been a great year for Farm Bureau, and some of that cornerstone success relies and really starts with our cornerstone, which is advocacy. Our Vote FBF, which is our statewide PAC, had a 90+ success rate in endorsed candidates that were successful for the office they were running in. And I think a lot of folks are ready for the election to be over with. But we will soon turn to January, and we'll have a new president back at the federal level. The House and the Senate will both be controlled by the Republicans, which is great for Kansas because Chairman Roberts will remain as chairman of the Senate Ag Committee, just in time to start gearing up to rewrite the current farm bill, which expires in September of 2018. While not official just yet, we fully anticipate that Congressman-Elect Dr. Roger Marshall will be put back on the House Ag Committee, which is the first time in the last few years that a Kansan will be represented there. So we're very excited about those two victories from a Farm Bureau family perspective with those two members on their seats. As we turn to a state level, the new legislative session will begin in early January. And once again, Vote FBF had a very successful endorsement process. And as we look at both the House and the Senate chamber, about 1/3 of each of those bodies did transition. So our members certainly have some education to do of the new members. Some of those members did leave the House to go to the Senate. So we're looking forward to welcoming those new members and also welcoming our dear friends that are returning. And actually just today there was the announcement of the leadership positions. We're very excited to work with President Wagle again and congratulate Ron Ryckman Jr. on being elected Speaker of the House. And we also look forward to working with Majority Leader Jim Denning in the Senate and Majority Leader Lavon Heidemann in the House. Those individuals certainly are very familiar with Farm Bureau. We've lobbied them in years past and have been successful for many of the bills and the causes that we represent. So as we gear up, we know there's about a $350 million budget shortfall that will be one of the first issues out of the gate. It remains to be seen whether the will of the legislative body is to rewrite a school finance formula when it pertains to K-12 education, or possibly extend the current block grant, which is a 2-year block grant, but possibly extend that a 3rd year just with the turnover and 1/3 of each body being relatively new. They still need to kind of get their feet under them. But as we look at some specific agriculture issues, there's a number of water bills deal with consumptive use that deal with a slight modification to the water conservation area, the WCA bill that Farm Bureau pushed a couple of sessions ago. So we will be working with our colleagues in the legislature and the governor's office and the Department of Agriculture, as well as other commodity groups all across the state, to make sure that farmers and ranchers, their voice is heard, and that we continue to educate an ever-growing urban public, even here in Kansas, of just the importance of agriculture to our rural communities and our state economy as a whole.
There's a lot of different ways of doing this woodwork, but all of it still takes both hands.
He had been told that by the orthopedic specialist in Enid, Oklahoma, that they would have to fuse his thumb.
And I said, no, cut it off, because I didn't want it sticking up. And I found out about the Kansas Regenerative Stem Cell and went to Manhattan.
We were so impressed with how royally we were treated the first time we came to Kansas Regenerative.
We came in and he took out the stem cells. It took about an hour for him to process them before they put him back in my knees and my thumb. And we were out of here in about 4 hours and on our way back home. And I'm in here today to have my shoulders, my hips, and my back done. So I'll be able to go back to my sawmill, my shop, and do about anything I want to do.